November 1993. I was laid off from roofing. I looked ahead on my list, and there's this very specific book that tells me where I was in my life at this time. So I know that I was laid off from my industrial roofing job at this point, and so I had time to read 12 books in November. And we're going to jump right into those books. The first one is Fright Night, the novelization by John Skipp and Craig Spector. This is a new edition from Encyclopocalypse Publications. Is that upside down? There you go. I don't know. I don't know which way. I'm looking at the camera funny. So, of course, this is the novelization of the movie Fright Night. If there's anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's about Charlie, a high school kid, his girlfriend, and his buddy Evil Ed, and a vampire moves in next door. That's all I'm going to tell you. And there's a horror host, played by Roddy McDowall. That's all I'm going to tell you. Anyway, this is John Skipp and Craig Spector's first novel. And I used to have a first edition of it, but that's long gone. So I'm very happy that Encyclopocalypse has been publishing, reprinting old novelizations as well as publishing brand new novelizations of stuff. So very excited for this. And this is the slightly larger size, but they also have mass market paperback sizes, which is cool for people who want that. Anyway, that was book number one. Book number two, Bestsellers Guaranteed by Joe R. Lansdale. This is a short story collection, and it's Lansdale. It's great stuff. What else is there to say? I remember reading some of these in Rod Serling's Twilight Zone magazine, which was such a great magazine. But this has such classics. I'm just going to look at the back as Bob the Dinosaur Goes to Disneyland, My Dead Dog Bobby, Chompers, Dog, Cat, and Baby, Not from Detroit, The Job, The Events Concerning a Nude Fold-Out Found in a Harlequin Romance, and, of course, the title story, Bestsellers Guaranteed. Just a nice wide range of Joe Lansdale's stories. It's Lansdale. It's fantastic. That's all I own anymore. So we'll just get down to the rest. And now I have my notes. Book number 3, McNally's Secret by Lawrence Sanders. This is the first in his series of Archie McNally mysteries. And they take place in Palm Beach among the rich and degenerate. And Archie McNally, kind of a layabout from a rich family, but he's involved in discreet inquiries, so when the rich and famous get into trouble, Archie McNally gets paid to get them out of trouble, if he can, and keep it discreet. But it's not always, doesn't always work out that way. And this is the first book in the series, and this old matronly rich woman gets robbed of some 1918 airmail stamps straight out of her wall safe. And McNally gets brought in to investigate. And as he does so, it's possible that some secrets from his family could be uncovered. Really good book. As you'll see, I'm going to read a bunch of these. Lawrence Sanders, great author. Really fun, entertaining, light books with, as light as you can get when you got murder and stuff. But I really enjoyed these, and I liked Archie McNally as a character. Next up, The Burglar Who Painted Like Mondrian by Lawrence Block. This is the return of, you know what? I did not write this down. Bernie somebody. I don't remember his name now. But he's a burglar. He's been in a whole series of things. And his girlfriend in this book convinces him to steal this Mondrian painting so that she can use it to get her kidnapped cat back. Something like that. I feel like that's what it was. And of course, Bernie is gonna. Man, like his last name's on the tip of my brain, and I can't think of it. But yeah, it's fun. Lawrence Block, not one of my favorites. Fine. Obviously, I've read a bunch of these Burglar Who books, but if you've watched this series, it's obvious because I've mentioned many of them before. Uh, but Lawrence Block was always I come back to him whenever kind of author. And a lot of people really dig his stuff, and he does some darker stuff. These are lighter. Next up, McNally's Luck, the second book in the Archie McNally series. And, as fate would have it, there's a kidnapped cat in this too. McNally is hired to find this kidnapped cat. Of course, there's probably murder involved, and there's a psychic, a sexy psychic, who gets involved with Archie McNally. Again, a lot of fun. Really well written. Good mystery. Then we have Beyond News of the Weird by, I gotta read my little tiny print, Chuck Shepard, John J. Kohut, and Roland Sweet. And this is a book that has over 500 newspaper stories of just weird stuff. And the chapters are like ridiculous lawsuits, weird crimes, or weird science, stupid criminals, things like that. And it's just actual newspaper articles of just weird stories. The one example I saw when I had to look this up on Amazon was apparently a bunch of nuns that sold their convents to buy a castle. Just stuff like that. Just funny news articles. Over 500 of them. Then we have Sullivan's Sting by Lawrence Sanders. For some reason, I went with a different book, not a McNally. But Sullivan's Sting, the main character is Rita Sullivan. She's a straight-laced FBI agent who goes undercover to find this Ponzi scheme guy. And down in the rich areas of Florida, and she might be falling in love, but she's trying to do her job and bring this guy down. Again, Lawrence Sanders, well written, fun, less of a mystery because we know who the bad guy is, but still good stuff. Then we have Sign Language by Jerry Seinfeld, just funny little essays, whatever, from Jerry Seinfeld. Basically, his stand-up in written form. I used to find him funny. Not so much anymore. Although I still like to watch the show. Now, back to McNally. McNally's Risk. Lawrence Sanders. Let's look at my notes. Archie McNally is hired by an old, matronly, rich woman to investigate her son's fiance. And somewhere in there is murder, and possibly a murder spree. And there's a butterfly tattoo that could be a clue. Again, well written, fun. Archie McNally's a great character. Then we have Dr. Kooky, You're Right, by Mike Royko. Mike Royko was a newspaper columnist for you younger viewers. That's like having a blog, but it was in a newspaper, which is this physical thing that would come to your house every day. He was from Chicago, very famous, very popular, a satirist, I suppose, is the best way to put it. And this is a collection, his final collection, I believe, before his death, of just a bunch of his articles on almost any subject you can think of that could be written up in a satiric way in the newspaper. You know, sports, religion, anti-smokers, just tons and tons of stuff. Very funny guy, but, you know, uses his humor to make a point. Excuse me. Then we have the penultimate book for November of 1993. Mostly Harmless by Douglas Adams, the 5th book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy. And, excuse me, in this one, Arthur Dent is trying to just live his life and enjoy himself, but, you know, things just aren't gonna go his way, and there's just all sorts of trouble, and this young woman named Random shows up who claims to be his daughter, and the earth keeps blowing up. At least it does at the beginning and at the end. Spoilers. Multiversal kind of madness thing going on. Possibly the weakest of the Hitchhiker books. None of them ever really matched the original, in my opinion. But worth reading. And then finally, the last book I read in November of 1993 was Harry Anderson's Games You Can't Lose by Harry Anderson and Turk Pipkin is what that looks like. Harry Anderson, best known as Judge Harry on Night Court, was a con man back in the day. This is a book of, the subtitle was A Guide for Suckers, and it talks about, a bunch of cons, how to avoid being conned, little fun cons you can play on your friends, talks about why you shouldn't gamble in Vegas, breaks down the odds. Don't know if any of this is still relevant today. Tells you why you're absolutely going to lose when you go to Vegas in the long run. And it's fun. I liked Harry Anderson. I think the description said he was a performative con man. And it was, if you ever watched Night Court, he was kind of playing himself. He had that shtick, that card trick con man kind of shtick as the judge. So this was a fun book. I enjoy reading about the different cons and things. 3-card Monty. This isn't like pulling a Ocean's 11 bank heist kind of thing. just the little con jobs that you might find out on the street. And that's it. That is 12 books that I read in November of 1993. And you know what? I'm not going to ask a question this video because I can't think of one. There's a big mix of stuff here: horror, novelizations, mysteries, nonfiction, all sorts of stuff. And frankly, my nose is stuffy. I'm sure you can hear me sniffing. And yeah, I just don't have a question. But if you have any comments or questions or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe all the YouTube stuff if you'd care to follow me on other social media. My Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, fuzzy animals, and t-shirts, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. This t-shirt is from TeePublic, I believe, and it's from the Ghoulish Books, or maybe the Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing Books shop, and it's for Jessica Leonard's Antioch. Had to pick it up. Love that book. Really dig this shirt. So there's a free plug for them. They got a lot of great shirts. I got 2 from the shop. I plan on getting more. All right, that is all I have for this week. So until next week, read more books.